In this video, we want to look at how to find where a function is increasing, decreasing, or constant given the graph of the function. You can see the graph in question over here on the right-hand side of the screen. It's traced out in kind of a dark navy blue color, and we want to look at that and be able to pick out where we are increasing, decreasing, or constant. And we're going to break up this graph into intervals depending on where it is, which one of those three options, and we're going to list that off in interval notation. Now, when we break up these intervals, something to keep in mind is we want to break up the intervals in terms of our x values. So we're measuring where these parts of the graph are doing particular things given where the x value is from the start to finish. So keep that in mind as you do these answers. Now let's talk a little bit about increasing, decreasing, and constant. Essentially, increasing just means you're going uphill from left to right. So it can be like a straight line, linear, or it can be, kind of like a curve. But as long as you're going uphill, that would be increasing. Decreasing means you're going downhill from left to right, and constant means it's completely flat from left to right. So what I tell people to do, and it tends to help them just be able to visualize it, is just imagine drawing a car on the graph as if it were like driving along the graph. And this is probably not going to be very pretty, but use your imagination. And the car is driving from left to right. If the car is going downhill, then that's a decreasing section. If it's going uphill, that's an increasing section. And if it's flat, that's just going to be a constant section. So from negative infinity, looking at this graph, all the way until we get down to the point or the bottom of the hill, -1 is going to be an area where we're going downhill. So when we're talking about decreasing, that fits the bill. So everything from negative infinity all the way to -1 is going to be decreasing. Now, since -1 is technically a point where, it's like a flat spot right there on that exact point, it's neither increasing or decreasing, we always just put our intervals with parentheses when we're doing increase, decrease, or constant. So just kind of keep that in mind. That takes a little bit of the burden off of thinking about whether you have to do parenthesis or bracket. It's just always parenthesis for this type of thing. But also looking at this graph, we have another section where we're going to be decreasing or going downhill. And that's going to start at the crest of the next hill, starting at x equals 1. So from x equals 1 all the way toward positive infinity, we're going to be going downhill. And so we need to include that in the decreasing section. So it's going to be decreasing from negative infinity all the way to -1. And we're going to combine that with the interval from 1 all the way to positive infinity. So that's what that u means in between two intervals. We're just combining the two together. So that takes up almost all of this graph. There's this little section in the middle where something's happening between x equals -1 to x equals 1. And in that section, you're going uphill, so that would be an increasing section. So from -1 all the way to +1, that's going to be increasing. And for this particular example, we don't have any areas where we're constant, so we don't have to list anything there because there are no constant areas. So here, just to review, we're increasing from -1 to 1, we're decreasing from negative infinity to -1, and from 1 to infinity. And that's it.